I'm gonna give everybody a minute to get in, but welcome. Looks like we have a pretty good group. So with the way that we are doing this Zoom presentation, we cannot see the audience, unfortunately. So we can only communicate either through chat or through Q&A. I would ask that the participants actually ask anything of us that they want us to answer through Q&A. And we do have Mike, who's going to be monitoring that for us. My name is Janae Norris. I'm a Senior Associate Director here at Binghamton University. I am thrilled to be joining all of you today, and I have an absolutely fantastic panel of transfer students with me. Olivia, if you wouldn't mind starting off and introducing yourself and where you're from and your major. Hold on, Olivia, you're on mute, so let's make sure we take that off before you talk.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so my name's Olivia. I'm a current transfer student. I transferred in the fall of 2018 from Fordham University. I'm double majoring in actuarial science and history. I actually work in admissions as the transfer supervisor, and when I am not working with admissions, I am the president of the Binghamton Transfer Student Association, and I'll pass it off to Ben.
Hey everybody, I'm Ben. I'm a senior in the School of Management, majoring in finance and business analytics. I'm from Rochester, New York, and when I'm not doing student ambassador stuff with admissions, I'm an intramural and club sports supervisor for campus recreation.
Great. Hi everyone, my name is Colleen. I transferred in the fall of 2017 from Suffolk Community College. Last year I earned my bachelor's in marketing and accounting, and currently I am a graduate student pursuing my CPA and going for accounting too.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And when I'm not doing this, I'm part of Circle K.
Oh, wonderful, great. I'm gonna share my presentation here with you all, and just give me a second. So, like I said, I wanted to welcome all of you. My name is Janae Norris. I know some of you are just joining in, but some of you are admitted, some of you are looking at the university, and this will kind of give you an overview of what Binghamton University has to offer. Please feel free to ask any questions after the presentation, and we're going to do a panel, so you will have lots of opportunities for that. Some of you may know about Binghamton University, what we have to offer. We are considered one of the top public universities in the nation. We are the #1 in New York State. We're very proud of that ranking, and it's important to you as a student as well. There are lots of opportunities at Binghamton for students, and I think you also need to know, as far as the rankings go, because of the recognition that Binghamton has, that we have a great deal to offer. I am really thrilled in terms of the offerings that we have. Certainly students get hands-on learning opportunities. This is a picture of students actually installing up on top of a roof so that they can get the kind of the practical hands-on experience, and they're showing other students how this works. We also have students that are engaged in lots of different activities on campus. We do have a human rights organizations on campus, as well as a human rights major now. And so they do promote some different things across campus as well. And whether it be your interest in your engagement, really there's a dichotomy of different choices that you have. Just to show you case some of the other ones, one of the things I think that Binghamton does a really good job of is giving those students those hands-on opportunities. And these are just some of the pictures that kind of showcase what campus is like and what we have to offer. Just some little pieces of information from as your transfer students. We have about 3,300 transfer students at Binghamton. And we are really proud of our retention rate, which when you look at 88%, it puts us in the top 3 to 5% in the nation. And I also think that Binghamton has a great location. So we're fairly close to many metropolitan areas, which leads to internships, jobs, and different opportunities for our graduates, as well as different experiences for internships. But Binghamton also has a more global approach as well. And so we do have students that go across the globe for experiences, whether it be study abroad or working abroad, or working for different positions or studying abroad. Within the university, while we are one, we have 6 different colleges that make up Binghamton University. Really at the heart of what Binghamton has to offer is Harper College of Arts and Sciences. This is our liberal arts school, which provides really a strong foundation for all of our students that are coming in. As a transfer, you may have already met all of your gen eds, and you may or may not take classes in Harper depending on what you're interested in majoring in. But Harper has about 100 different options for students. They have both majors and minors, so students have a lot of opportunities to pursue different avenues. This is where we would house our sciences, our arts, our social sciences, mathematics, and a number of other majors and choices. Obviously, with all of them here today, I'm not going to be able to go into each one individually. I encourage you to take a look at our website, take a look at what the courses have to offer, and see some of the nuances of what our programs have. One of the things I hear a lot from students is they look at our psychology program, and we have extensive offerings in that. And it's not that you're going to have limits within our program, it's just to look at that and to see if it's going to meet your needs and your interest. Our College in Community and Public Affairs is our smallest program. It has both human development and a bachelor's in social work for the undergraduate level. It is an amazing program in getting students preparation to go out into the field, and there are requirements for students to do internships within that degree program. One of the things that they really pride themselves on doing is their engagement in community service. So students from that program really want to make a difference and a change in the world. And so you will find our graduates in community and public affairs in things like government, hospitals, community and social services type programs. That is where you'll see our graduates. Our Decker College of Nursing and Health Sciences has a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. It is one of our smaller schools within the university, and so it does become very competitive. They have very, very clear specific requirements, and there's so many of them. I don't want to list them all, but I encourage you to visit our website to take a look at what they're looking for. It is an amazing program. They have a great pass rate on the NICLEX exam, putting us in the top 5% for colleges and universities as far as for the NICLEX exams. Our School of Management has both business management and accounting. They have great hands-on opportunities for students to gain experiences, and it is also one of our more competitive schools. So they are looking for about a 3.5 for our students to come in, and there's, again, very specific pre-requirements that they're looking for, including micro, macro stats and calc. So they want students to have that. One of the great things about our School of Management is the outcomes and the opportunities. And you'll find that students get really, right from the day one, when you're coming on campus, you have opportunities to be engaged with companies. This past fall, we had Mazda Corporation on campus, and they did host one of our case competitions. And students that were in the top teams for that actually got to meet with the executives that have come. And it was actually on one of the days, it was the vice president for operations for Mazda that came to campus for the Northeast. I'm sorry, for all of America. And the students really were engaged and got a great opportunity to speak with him, and it led to some students finding internships and different opportunities. Our School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences is our newest school here at Binghamton University. It offers a PharmD, which is a final terminal degree in pharmacy. And students from that program have a lot of opportunities and avenues, and our transfer students are able to participate in that program at the graduate level. Our Watson School of Engineering and Applied Science has both engineering and computer science. It offers a great deal of hands-on opportunities for students to be engaged in different projects. Our graduates are found throughout the globe, and companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Hewlett-Packard, BAE, Lockheed Martin are some of the places that our students will find internships as well as full-time positions. Obviously, in the STEM fields, there's a high demand, so it is a field that those students are being highly sought after by companies. This kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at academically for our students to transfer. When you look at some of our programs, even though the GPAs are listed here, we are also looking at specific core requirements as well. So I encourage you to look at our website to find out what those are. If you've been admitted to one of these, congratulations. It was a very competitive process this year, and we're excited to have the entering class come in. I think when you look at the type of faculty that are here, and down on that bottom right-hand side is Stan Whittingham. He is one of our professors for chemistry. He's an amazing professor, very approachable, but he also just recently won the Nobel Prize this past fall in chemistry. And he did that for his work that he had done in batteries. And so students have had a chance to work with him. They didn't necessarily realize all that he had accomplished and achieved until they learned of him being awarded the Nobel Prize. He was one of 3 for the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for that work that they had done. Quite an amazing accomplishment, but he's just a man that wants students to be successful and to have the opportunities. And I'm going to actually ask one of my students, if you wouldn't mind, telling us a little bit about what your experiences have been like with faculty.
I've had an exceptional interaction with a lot of my faculty at the graduate level. The professor I actually TA for, he is in charge of the Accounting Information Systems class, and he has gone above and beyond. He actually spoke with the Big Four firms and asked them to help create assignments for us, so it helps smooth the onboarding process as many of the students who are in the School of Management go to pursue employment there. And as I mentioned, he just really, really cares about his students and really wants us all to succeed.
Great, thank you. We'll hear a little bit about one of our majors here at Binghamton.
Hey, my name is Eliana Epstein. I'm an environmental studies major. Today I am in the greenhouse at Binghamton University, and I'm going to tell you about my major in 60 seconds. So when I was a freshman, I was very confused about what I wanted to major in. I thought I maybe wanted to be in the business school. It turns out I hated it. I found geography, and through geography, I fell in love with environmental studies. My favorite class so far has been ecological agriculture. My professor has his own farm, so he teaches us in a very hands-on approach. And on Thursday, he's actually bringing some worms I could take home for my compost bin. Outside of class, I'm involved in Binghamton Food Rescue, which is an organization that reallocates food from supermarkets and farmers markets to people in need within 24 hours. Also next semester, I'll be studying sustainability abroad in Costa Rica, which I'm pretty excited about. Something that surprised me about this major was how well I can integrate it into my daily life. I change the kinds of foods I eat and the activities I engage in. In 5 to 10 years, I see myself abroad with a master's degree in public administration, managing a nonprofit that utilizes recycled textiles. And that is environmental studies in 60 seconds.
So as you can see, I think it's important to see what our majors have to offer. And I know first and foremost, when you pick a college, you are looking at your academics. So I encourage you to take a look on our website and look at some of the more major minutes that we have available to you. I think as you're making that choice about what college or university you want to go to, it's important to know the things that you're going to discover, not just in the classroom, but outside of the classroom. When you look at Binghamton University and what we have to offer, there's so much that learning that is taking place and that our students are gaining valuable experience in so many different ways. We have a real emphasis to help and support our students. One of them is through our Undergraduate Research Center, which will help connect students to opportunities both on campus as well as off campus. One of the off-campus opportunities that I know one of our transfer students took advantage of was through the National Institute of Health. And she actually applied and was selected to do an internship, which ultimately led to a postbaccalaureate fellowship that she's participating in right now. So it is something that we're really proud of our graduates, but also we want to provide as many opportunities as possible to our students to be participating in this and to be engaged in it. We have our own summer research immersion program, which transfer students are eligible to participate in. It allows you to actually do your own research project. In some instances, there is funding. And I think it's really interesting. I think a lot of students think of this research and they only think of the sciences, but we have faculty members that are doing research in English or art. And we actually, last summer, we had a student that did a art expose, and she received an $8,000 grant from the National Institute of the Arts to do a photo expose on the art of fracking in the Northeast. And so it was just an amazing gallery showing that she was able to put on both on campus as well as off down in Washington, D.C., and really showcase what work she had done. So there are opportunities. I think the other reason why it's important to look at campuses that have research is textbooks are 4 or 5 years old. It's important to get the cutting edge information, and our faculty here really bring that into the classroom. I think continuing on with the impact that Binghamton has to offer and what you would want to obtain from Binghamton is things like education abroad or internships. And I think there's a lot of different ways to go about learning about the different internships. And I think, Ben, you've worked with our career services before. Do you want to share a little bit about some of your experiences and how you've gone about, whether it be looking for internships or full-time positions?
Yeah, so most of my experience has been specifically with school management career services, just because that's the school that I'm in. But they're extremely helpful, whether it's them or Fleischman or Watson Career Services. They pretty much give you all the tools you need to succeed. You just kind of have to go take it. So like I transferred in the spring of 2018 when I was a sophomore. So between my sophomore and junior year, I was able to get an internship in my hometown of Rochester. And then between junior and senior year, I got an internship down in Florida. So like you can really, as they have a lot of good partnerships with a lot of really big firms in New York City, but they really, you can utilize it to find internships really anywhere in the country. And they'll do other things too, like they'll help you with your resume and cover letter and things like that too. So it's really helpful.
Thank you so much. I know that some of you may also be interested in engaging in community service, and I heard one of our students talked about that they were part of Circle K, which is a service organization, and there are so many different opportunities at Binghamton for students to be engaged in service learning. The next video I have, it talks a little bit about some of the service and study abroad opportunities.
So a group of friends, me, my friend Aisha, Acadia, and Liarda, were in contact with this doctor, Dr. Jigisha Chaudhary, and she does a lot of charity work in this region in India called Gujarat, and she has started her own organizations, and she offered us to come on this trip and basically tour all of the orphanages, schools, hospitals, pediatric clinics, and we really got a feel for healthcare in India.
Wave, guys. Wave.
It was so much more hands-on than I ever expected. For example, we volunteered at a child neurodevelopment center, and after shadowing the therapist there, we presented on U.S. treatments for ADHD and speech disorders to the faculty, and they were very receptive. They loved everything we said, and I think it may have made an influence in their daily practice. Coming into the trip, I didn't really have a goal, but I think once I was on the trip, I realized what I was there for. I'm really interested in global health and these big initiatives to basically increase awareness for problems in third world countries that involve medical issues. So being on the trip really opened my eyes to so many of the issues in India that have simple solutions that we can provide. And I realized that there's so much more that I can do, and there's so much potential for me to make a huge impact rather than just practicing medicine. So that's why I'm interested in working with a nonprofit after I graduate.
So I think it's, as you're looking at colleges and universities, you want to look at the things that you're going to be allowed to do and what you want to become. We have so many successful graduates, and our transfer students are supported in so many different ways. This is just a few of the alumni that have come out of Binghamton University and a little bit about what they're doing now. One of my favorite alumni that is a transfer is actually working as a physician. It is not Adam Fox, but he is working in upstate New York, and he's really helping to lead and to make changes in the healthcare field. So our graduates are very successful, and they're able to go on and continue in their field and really develop and dive and take on new approaches to looking at problems that are facing our world today. I think as a student, in addition to the academics and the success of what you're looking to achieve, you want to have fun on a campus. And I think that Binghamton University has so much to offer. There's over 450 different clubs and organizations that our students participate in. There's over 2,000 different of our students that participate in a given semester in recreational and competitive clubs. We do have 41 different club sport teams, Division I athletics, and so if you want to be supportive of our teams, we encourage that, or if you are yourself thinking about playing on a Division I team, you get in touch with our coaches and see what they're looking for. But there's so much to do, and it ranges from things like our knitting club to the professional societies and organizations, and everything in between is available for our students. And it's really interesting, it's not just limiting as far as students that are in one major or another will pick these clubs. You'll find that it's across the spectrum, that our engineering students will participate in our theater, or our students in human development participate in some of our STEM research and STEM clubs that we have. So really, there's a ton of different opportunities. I think there's something like 7 different a cappella groups that are on campus. There's so many different performance groups. And I want students to come to campus, and yes, your academics are important, but you also want to enjoy yourself while you're in college and to have fun. And I know that Binghamton has so many different ways that they're doing that. I do know that some of our clubs and organizations are meeting virtually right now, although because of COVID, but they're still engaged, and the students are actually making a big difference. One of our student organizations actually is helping locally One of the students is printing some things with his 3D printer on campus, but also encouraging and sending shareware so that others can do the same and support their local hospitals. So our students are really having a lot of fun, but then they're also gaining some of those critical skills that companies want students to have. And I'm going to turn it over to Olivia because she knows about one of our clubs the most.
Okay, so hi everybody, my name's Olivia, like Janae just said, and I'm the current president of the Binghamton Transfer Student Association. So basically on campus, we just want to be able to enable all current and incoming transfer students to effectively transition to the university and just have a way to make friends and just like kind of unite the transfer community on campus. So we do social, academic, and professional programming. In the past, we've done bonfires. We did a fall fest with like pumpkin painting and apple cider and donuts. But in terms of like professional stuff, we usually collaborate with the Fleischman Career Center and do a resume event. And we've also done course registration prep and everything. Basically, we're just another resource on campus for you guys just to connect with, but also, you know, because instead of just connecting with an office, we're all in the same position. So we kind of just want to be there to help out all of our fellow transfer students.
Great, thank you so much for showcasing that. Here's another example of one of our students and what they got involved in.
Didn't see you there. We're the food co-op. We're the BU Pep Band, the Screaming Green, Live Action Role Playing Club. We're Pause and Effect. I'm here with BU Bees.
We're the Binghamton Cake Line.
Ferry. We're the on-campus ambulance service.
Hi, we're the Binghamton rowing team. We're the Women's Student Union. Hey, we're the Binghamton Peace Club.
Also important to know that we have a very diverse student body and we are extremely welcoming for all. There's a lot of services that will help meet students' needs. And you know, with being a diverse campus, we want to represent that and have support for our students. When we admit you, we want you to be successful, and some of those supports and student resources are really extensive and available to you. This is just a small example of what's there for our students to be involved in and to get that support that they may need. Our transfer student services. Olivia, do you want to talk a little bit more about what they have to offer?
Yeah, for sure. So the BTSA also collaborates with the Transfer Student Services Office. So they do some academic and social programming. I know they do like a breakfast at the beginning of each semester, and they do like fun events for the holidays and everything like that. They do have a transfer mentorship program. So a veteran transfer, like a transfer student who has been at the university for a couple semesters, can kind of be a mentor for an incoming transfer student. It's a really good way to make friends. It's a really good resource. They can help you out with things on campus in terms of helping you, find your way to class one day, or like the best places to get food on campus and everything like that. I was actually a transfer mentor this past semester, and it's just a really great opportunity to meet other transfer students. They also, it says monthly newsletters, but it's more, recently they've kind of made it more bi-weekly. You're automatically signed up for this newsletter, and it's really, really resourceful. I know their graduate assistant, Victoria, puts together a very nice newsletter that has all this information about like the academic calendar, any events that are going on that are applicable to you, everything like that. It's really, really helpful. And then they also have the Tau Sigma National Honor Society, which is an honor society specifically for transfer students. So if you have a 3.5 GPA after your first semester at Binghamton, you're invited to join the Honor Society, and it's just another good way to get involved on campus and maybe have some scholarship and leadership opportunities.
Great, thank you. And I think, when you look at the culmination of all these different events and activities, we support students to have a healthy lifestyle. And we've been ranked as one of the top 25 healthiest campuses in the nation. And I think there's a lot of efforts that we do One of the things that I think you will find as a transfer student coming in is you have the chance to make a big difference on our campus. One of the organizations that's up here listed is BU Acres Farm, and that was a group of students actually from our environmental studies area that had an interest from farm to table and looking at, our food source and where it is coming from, the transportation issues on the environment and that sort of thing. And they actually started a proposal to do BU Acres Farm, and then they presented that to the president, who then brought it to the Alumni Association, and they bought additional acreage to have a farm that is entirely student run and supports not only our local residential dining facilities, but it also goes out to one of our local charities called Chow. I think it's something that's so important that our students are engaged and really able to do that. The other thing that I think is really important with being healthy and balancing, you want to be able to establish in your lifetime that work-life balance, and Binghamton really strives to provide students with those kind of opportunities. There's a lot of resources and support that are there to help you achieve that. I think one of the things by living on campus, and we do actually have a residential life presentation coming up in a very short time. I think in the next day or next week, there's one being offered, or it may possibly even be this Sunday, that it's available for our students to learn a little bit about all of our different places to live. But as a transfer student, you have the opportunity to live on campus if you so choose. Many of our students choose to live in the apartments because they are singles that are available for the students. I think, Olivia, you've lived on campus. Do you want to share a little bit about your experiences and what you've done in the residential communities?
Yeah, of course. So my first semester, or well, my first year, I lived in College in the Woods on the transfer floor. So basically everyone else who lived on that floor with me was a transfer student. Again, super great way to meet other people. They're all in the same position as you. I actually ended up being really, really great friends with my suite mate, and we still live together now. And I don't know, staying on campus was a really, it kind of forced me to get involved because it was like everything was happening around you. So I think staying on campus my first year was really helpful, just to really get to know the campus and make that transition. But I do know a lot of my friends lived up in the apartment communities, and they really love it because it's more of the apartment style. As we're getting older, it makes more sense to have your own kitchen, everything like that. And we do have transfer buildings, buildings reserved just for transfers in the apartment community. So again, you're living with other transfer students, but you can live with any returning student as well.
And certainly our transfer students do live throughout campus. It's just more of them choose to live in the apartments because of the single option. This is one of our residential communities and some of the involvement.
I'm Al Voss. I'm an English professor, and then I became the collegiate professor of Hinman College and the organizer of the public service learning community within Hinman. It's important for students to connect their learning in the classroom to the community outside the classroom. And by the community outside the classroom, I'm also thinking about outside campus, the greater Binghamton community, which has lots of organizations where students can learn about civic action, civic engagement, career choices, and the kind of needs that exist out there in society.
I joined the public service learning community when I was signing up for housings for the year. I didn't know what it was about. When I saw the word service, I was really intrigued, and I really wanted to know what that community entailed. This community has completely changed my life. I initially came in as a business major, and now I'm adding a major of human development because it really studies the change and the challenges faced by humans throughout their lifetime, and I'm really interested in doing that. It feels incredible to donate my time to helping other people, knowing that even if I spend 15 or 20 minutes, it's really impactful to their lives.
I think the Binghamton community is also very engaged, and students have opportunities to participate in many different activities in the local area. One of my favorite ones is Luma. It looks kind of like the monster up in the building, in the top, right in the middle. And it brings out about 70,000 people to the local Binghamton area, and you get to see different three-dimensional art designs, and it's bringing STEM, the sciences, and arts together to make STEAM, and it's a really great event. And one of our students actually was on the committee that helped to form that. And so you never know in terms of the experiences you're having off campus what that impact is going to have as well in the greater community. I think so many of you, cost is and affordability is a bigger issue. We are a campus that has extremely great return on investment. PayScale has recognized us in this. We're one of the top 4 most affordable universities according to public U.S. News and World Report. You are looking at about $7,000 in tuition if you are from New York State, and for out-of-state students, you are looking at around $24,000. I know that for many of you, this is a substantial amount, but it's an investment in yourself. And when you look at the starting salaries and other things that we'll kind of cover, it really does make sense to get your Binghamton degree and invest in yourself. I'm going to open it up now to any questions we may have, and I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for a minute. And I do have some, it looks like we have some questions from our panelists, and then I also have some general questions for our students as well that I'm going to answer or have asked. As far as for my transfer students, if you wouldn't mind getting started with, what was your transfer experience like and how did you adjust to campus?
Okay, so I'll take that one first. My transfer experience was really, really awesome. I came in, hit the ground running. I wanted to get really, really involved, and I ended up being a part of, I think, 5 or 6 organizations within the first month of school. And I don't know, I feel like when you come in as a transfer, like, oh God, is everyone gonna know I'm a transfer? Like, am I gonna stand out? But you really fit in with the community. I mean, we have so many transfer students on campus. So for me, I was meeting other transfer students without even realizing it and interacting with other kids on campus. In general, I mean, I feel like the academics, all the professors were really, really welcoming and so helpful. The advisors were helpful. I didn't really know how to register and at orientation, and they really, really help you out with that as well. So I don't know, I felt like my transfer experience was really, really positive.
Anybody else want to add anything, or do you want me to go to the next question?
I can join in. So my first semester, I lived in Hinman. Ironically, I lived on the quiet floor. I waited a little bit too late to put my deposit down. So that's where I was stuck. But ironically, I made some of my closest friends, and we were actually the loud floor, and we were super, super involved with the community that I decided to stay there for the following year.
So the next question I have is, what is transfer orientation like?
I can speak on that if you want. Yeah, so I actually came in the middle of the year. I came in the spring. So I don't know if it was any different for that, but really what it was is we moved in like a few, maybe 3, 4, 5 days before the semester started into wherever you were living. So I lived in Hillside. So I moved in my apartment early, and then you just kind of go through the orientation. It's 2 days long, I think, and you do you have some sessions with TSS. You talk to Raleigh, who is he's the director of TSS, and he kind of gives you more information about the campus and just other kind of things and cheat codes for Binghamton, I guess, if you want to call them, things like that. You'll do your class registration at the end of your orientation. And the nice thing too is that while we're registering for classes right now, the university leaves kind of ghost spaces, I guess, in those classes. So when you're coming in as a transfer student, you'll basically, I had no problem getting into all the classes I wanted to get into, so that was really nice because I was a little nervous about that. So I think most of the time, you'll be able to get into all the classes you want to as well. But it's really just an informative thing. There's icebreakers too, so you can kind of communicate with other students and make some friendships right off the bat there too.
Thank you. Oh, the only thing I would add is that for transfers that are coming in for the fall, we do it over, you'd pick one day in June. And again, like Ben said, we divide evenly. So no matter which transfer orientation you come to, everyone has equal access, and we do plan for our transfers and would love welcoming them to campus. So we make sure that they have enough spots for the classes that they need to graduate. It may not be the time you want, but there are spaces in enough of the classes so that you can get your courses. And then we actually also do what we call welcome week as well when the start of the semester, where you do kind of more of the social aspects. So students will arrive on campus a few days before classes start, and they continue to work with their residential life staff and also plan some different things to make students feel very welcome. And there's things like We actually did Mike and I actually hosted a transfer trivia competition. So there's lots of different things that students have access to with that. So great, thank you, Ben. And we had a question about, is the EOP program going to be talked about today? So while I did not specifically talk about the EOP program, we do have both EOP as well as TRIO at Binghamton. If you are an EOP as a transfer student, if you have been in EOP or qualify, if your campus did not, you can participate in our EOP program. It's a special educational opportunity program that allows students to get additional support and resources right on the campus. And they connect you with the counselor for EOP, and with TRIO, you have an advisor that you will work with for that program to support you and to make sure that you have the right access to what you need. Let's see. We have some great questions here, and I just want to make sure I'm kind of covering all of them. So pull up, pick one here. As far as transfer students, was it a big adjustment for you when you picked coming to Binghamton from your previous college? Anybody want to take that one?
Sure. So I came from community college and I was in the honors program. And as you know, SUNY to SUNY credits transfer very seamlessly. I did all my prereqs for the business school, so I was able to just be caught up to speed. Like it was earlier mentioned, I never felt any different from any other student. I was welcomed with open arms in all my business classes, and I was actually able to graduate a little bit earlier, and I was so excited to stay that I picked up another major. So I think that there's a possibility, the possibilities are endless for what you need to do and want to accomplish.
Okay. Thank you. Can you guys tell them a little bit more about some of the internship opportunities that you may have learned about? I know that Fleischman has over 2,000 companies that are coming to campus, but do you want to share a little bit about how you learn about different opportunities? Ben, it sounded like you did a couple of internships, so do you want to take?
Yeah. So every semester, Fleischman will host a career fair. It's typically in our events center, and they have like you're saying, like 200 plus companies that come. They have really close relationships with a lot of the firms in New York, like the big four accounting firms, and like some of the big banks down there. So a lot of them are usually at our career fair or other events throughout Career Week. So that's where I did most of my networking, and that's how I got my internship between my sophomore and junior year, which was with Northwestern Mutual. The other internship I had that was in Florida was with a smaller company called TriNet, and that one I just kind of found on LinkedIn. They're smaller, so they didn't do any networking on campus or anything like that. But kind of like I was saying earlier with like career services and whatnot, another thing they can help you out with is like making your LinkedIn profile really like top notch, so you can utilize it to the best of your ability. But really, Binghamton has like throughout every semester, and especially Career Week, they have tons and tons of employers that are on campus just speaking to students.
Okay, thank you. Have any of you done research at all? We had a question about research.
I haven't personally done research, but one of my my actual best friends, she is doing research in the psychology department right now, and basically she was able to just connect with some of her professors and just kind of see what they were up to, like what research they were doing on campus. So you can either go through like your professor individually, or you can go through the Undergraduate Research Center, and basically she's doing it for credit right now. So she's doing research in a memory lab, and she's taking it for 4 credits. So it's a good way to get upper level credits towards your degree. And normally if we were on campus, she'd be running experiments and helping out with the keeping track of the results and everything like that. So that's like a really, really good way to get involved and get something on your resume too.
Great. Yeah, I know that the Undergraduate Research Center is actually hosting their research days today. So today at 11, and then again at 2:30 today, you can actually join them and see what some of our undergraduate students have done for research in all different areas. And the students are doing what they call a poster session. So students can jump in and look at and talk to the students about what they learned from their research experience, as well as to see some of the results of what they found. There's some really, I was actually able to jump in this morning and see some of the different activities. There's some really engaging and interesting projects that they have worked on. So I really encourage, if you are interested in research, if you go onto our website, you will find the undergraduate research link. Or if you email Michael, he will be also able to post that for you and get the research days so that you're able to join in that session. Well, you have a great question. Why did you pick Binghamton as a transfer? And I'm actually going to ask all of you to answer that one.
All right, I'll take my first shot. So
okay.
I started at a university in New York City, realized it was not the right place for me in terms of the location. I didn't really like the big city and didn't have the major that I was looking to get into. So when I was looking to transfer places, I had actually applied to Binghamton my freshman year. Obviously, mistake that I didn't come to Binghamton originally, but Binghamton had everything I could ever want from a school. It's that mid-size, so you still feel like you make an impact on campus and you don't get buried among like thousands and thousands of students, but you know, big enough that you're getting to meet new people every single day. The amount of organizations on campus, I mean, like I said before, I'm involved in like 5 or 6 now, and it's just like that was a good way to meet people for me and just be able to like have all of my interests taken care of, if I'd like to say that. So, and then they had my major, actuarial science. It's not the most common major at schools, so that was another reason why I wanted to come. And in general, it just seems like everyone on campus, students, faculty, staff, everybody just really wants to help you succeed, and they're just very resourceful. So it just seemed like a very welcoming, like just a welcoming community and a welcoming university. So yeah.
I guess I'll take it away now. So the reason why I chose Binghamton was similar to Olivia. I also applied my freshman year. I got a little bit nervous before the start of the fall semester, so I decided to commute to school. And as much as I loved spending time with my family for those 2 years, I wanted to break out of my shell a little bit. And Binghamton, like I said earlier, it's so great where like I did not have to worry about losing credits and not graduating on time. And so for that reason, I wanted to get a new experience, go away, meet new people, and the business school here is like phenomenal. It's challenging. And at the end of the day though, I feel like there's a really, really high ROI.
Yeah, so similar to Colleen, I went to a community college as well. So I applied to a few schools when I was looking to transfer. I won't name the other schools, but obviously Binghamton is the best of all of them. And also, like Colleen was saying, our school of management was really good and competitive, and I was able to get into that. So that was really good too. And the other thing with Binghamton was I only knew 2 people that went to the school out of like our 14,000 undergrads or however many we have. So I thought it would be cool to go somewhere new rather than the other 2 schools I was looking at were kind of familiar. I knew a decent amount of people there. Academically, they just weren't as challenging as Binghamton. So ultimately, the new challenge and being able to go to a really good school was a big factor. And also Binghamton, like I was saying, has great connections. Like after I graduate, I'll be going down and working for EY in New York City. So like, and they just really set you up to succeed. So all of that was really important in my decision as well.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate all of you. It was great answers. We have a student who's interested in political science and he's interested in international politics. And it's his dream to work for the United Nations someday. He's wondering what kind of opportunities does Binghamton University have for me? And I'm actually going to answer this one. Julia, that's a great question. I know so many of you may have specific goals. Binghamton's great about helping students to find the connections that they need in the fields that they're looking at. We have students that are working for local nonprofit organizations as well as global organizations. And certainly we have a number of students and alumni that have graduated that have gone on to work for organizations like the United Nations or to work for the Department of State. And it's some of the things that you can be involved in and engaged in when you look at diplomacy and you look at the type of things that they are looking for and the people that they want to have. Things like we have a nationally ranked speech and debate team. You need to have the great communication skills to be looking at global diplomacy and type of things that they want you to have. So that might be one that you may want to consider joining or participating in. We have a number of different community service-based organizations that do support community charities. Even in our residential communities, although we didn't show it today, but there's one that's College in the Woods that does a program called Casino in the Woods, and they actually convert their dining facility over into a casino for one evening of the year, and they invite alumni and they invite students to come in and to gamble, and then that money goes to a local charity. And so there are organizations like that that will help prepare you. And certainly when you look at Binghamton's academics in the political science area and the different clubs that they have, there's a lot of opportunities that they're going to be able to offer you as well. And they certainly have a global aspect here at Binghamton on so many of our different courses. We also have courses that are linked. So it could be that you're taking a, let's say, political science course, and a component of it is taught in a foreign language. So you actually get to see what the researchers are saying, let's say in Spain, about a specific topic. And you'd be able to really tie it into, you know, whether it be Spanish politics, and be able to see what they're saying in their newspapers. Or if it's something like a global health issue, you'd be able to see what is happening in China and the impact on how the investigation is going. And if you have a Chinese language skill set, you can actually take that course, and a component of it would be in Chinese with native speakers. So there's some really interesting opportunities. And then we have the linked courses where you could actually work across the globe in terms of 2 projects that you know this going in, that you're going to be working on a project with a faculty member for the class. And it may be that you are doing a component of it in the US, and you're having to work with a campus that's down in Australia and having to do a joint project with them in presentation for your class. So there's a lot of different opportunities to get a global scale and an opportunity here at Binghamton to kind of meet your goals and your needs. And I think a lot of it is you've got to know about the different activities that are available and to read as much as you can. But one of the nice things that I think we do in the fall is there is an opportunity where you can learn about the different clubs and organizations that are on campus. So you can kind of see and showcase what's available to you and meeting your needs and interests. I know some of you may also be interested in things like medical school. We have 7 different pre-med societies. There's a whole office dedicated to pre-health advising. And we even have a lot of joint admissions programs, so you can know in advance that you're accepted into medical school. We had a great question from Carl, who's asking about, is there a possibility of creating your own interdisciplinary major? That is offered through Harper College. It is a very rigorous major, believe it or not, to be able to be approved for that. You do have to meet the requirements and justify why you're going to be doing the courses that you're taking. But there's definitely an opportunity for you to be able to do that. We have another student that's asking, what are the most popular clubs or events on campus? Would one of you want to take that one?
I can take it. So like I work for intramurals or campus recreation, and I do a lot with intramural sports. So I know intramurals are super popular in Binghamton. People get pretty intense sometimes. It's a lot of fun though. And then like club sports also, like we touched on in the presentation, there's a ton of club sports too. So I know those 2 are pretty popular. We also have in the spring, unfortunately we're not having it this year, but we have this thing called Spring Fling where you know, they bring in like a bunch of carnival rides, like literally right on campus. There's different like food stands, they eat like fried Oreos and things like that. And then they have like a concert at the end. Usually they get like some really popular artists to do the concert. Those are like the 2 I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you so much. We have another question from one of our students. When you first started at Binghamton, did you live on campus or off? If on campus, which location did you choose?
I can take that one first.
Sure.
So my first semester, or like my first year, I lived on campus in College in the Woods. Super great location just because it's literally centrally located. It's right across the street from the student union, the university union. So that was really, really nice. And then the next year I wanted to live in the Dickinson community. So I live there now. Well, I did. And but honestly, I feel like a lot of our transfer students live up in the apartment communities. That's where a lot of my friends live now. So sometimes I have to like run up there and get to see all my friends there. But yeah, I liked living on campus, but I know a lot of our transfer students also live off campus. So it's really just a good mix of everybody.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to answer where they lived when they first moved on campus?
Sure. So I lived in Hinman my junior and my senior year. I was involved in hall government, and so for that reason, I got really, really involved in the community, and I decided to stay for the following year.
Great. Wonderful. Last and final question, because I do want to respect everyone's time, is if you had to offer one piece of advice about something that a student should do at Binghamton, no matter what would you recommend?
I'll take that one first.
Okay.
I would say get involved as soon as possible. One, it's a great way to make friends. That's how I met so many of my friends, but it's also just a good way to like be able to, you know, I mean, say you're like, I'm majoring in actuarial science, but you know, I'm still interested in other things like volunteering with animals and everything like that. So, you know, you could be a part of our club Pause and Effect and volunteer at local animal shelters. So it's just a good way to like still like you can still have your academics and everything, but you can still be able to like do your passions and everything like that. So I would say just get involved as soon as possible. When you hear about those general interest meetings, just go learn about the club or organization. If you don't like it, whatever. If you do, it's really, really awesome. It's a great way to get involved.
Thank you.
I think that it's so important to ask questions. No question is silly. I think that I was a little bit more reserved when I came. The second day after orientation, I was completely lost and I had no idea where I was going. And I actually met one of the librarians. And as a graduate student, I'm very fortunate to have a study carrel. So I had my own little office to like get away. And I wouldn't have known that if I like bumped into this woman and she was like, well, how old are you? What are you doing? What are your goals? And I was like, oh my goodness, this is a lot. But it's just a lot of it's like word of mouth.
What I would say is that probably for most of you, depending on where you come, like I come from, like I came from a community college, so obviously Binghamton's academics were significantly more rigorous, but I'd say probably most of you, depending on where you're coming from, the academics are gonna be a little more difficult at Binghamton. So like don't be afraid to like sit in the front or like ask questions in like a giant lecture or go to office hours. Like those are the things that'll really help you, especially going to office hours, because like if you're in a 200 or 300 person lecture, like the professor's not going to know who you are unless you make an effort to have them know who you are. So just academically, like try like from day one just to like stay on top of everything, and you know, because the academics are going to be a little more difficult.
You guys had such great answers, and I hope that our audience has enjoyed what we've had to say and talk about. I know that many of you are coming up to that big magical day of May 1st where you have to make your college decisions, and we certainly are here and continue to support you in terms of the offerings that we have. There's a lot more sessions that we're making available to you, and then we have Monday through Friday. We do have our chat hours that Mike is going to post so that you can access that afterwards if you'd like to. It's right on the admissions page if you forget what link he's going to provide. But we want to thank you all for coming and joining us today for the presentation. And I am going to end the meeting here, but if it looks like we haven't gotten the, let me just grab the chat hours and chat link real quick for you. Join them, and but I want to thank everyone again. Thank you for joining us, and I do wish you the best of luck in your decision making. We're here if you have more questions and would love to answer those for you. I wish you all the best of luck, and I'm going to end the meeting now. Thank you so much.